Hi, all. How is everybody doing this evening? I hope you guys are well. I am fried. I was out all day for the last 9 hours, so it's a little bit late tonight. But guess what? I'm lighting my sage. I'm just going to put it into my little thing here and leave it for this YouTube street so we can clear and clean we can clear and clean our environment, including energetically on these YouTube streets that we are on today. Um, yes, don't forget to subscribe and like my channel. Um, you subscribing is going to help me a lot. It is free. Show this channel to your friends and your family. I'm going to put this here because it's just, well, you know what? I'm going to leave it so that it can smoke up the YouTube street today because I need a lot of that. I went to the city and it was a long day. Had to go to the airport and pick up an elder, which was really lovely. I'm glad that I got to be in service to someone else today. Who have you been in service to today? Eh? But by the time you see this video, it's probably going to be a few days since the Super Bowl and the halftime of the Super Bowl. Yeah, just move it to the side because it is just doing a good job, the sage. And if you are new here, sage is basically one of the indigenous medicine. So it is one of the First Nation um, people's medicine, and sage can clear your system energetically. It can clear your negative energy. It can also clean, change the vibration inside of the house. It can clean the area of your home energetically. If there is anything that you don't want to be in your home, and I'm talking about energy and all of that, because sage can clean your environment at least 93 to 95% of the environment, the same way you would put a plant in the house or something like that. But sage is used in ceremony, and it's definitely used in healing and in taking away all the negative things that don't serve you. So sage is really beautiful to use, and so that's why I'm saging you and I'm saging my channel so I can sage out the negativity and the negative people that is going to come here and have a say. Yeah, so yeah, telling you about my long day. I have been very emotional today, like really, like heart centered, soul centered, energetically emotional. And it has to do with the the Super Bowl, yeah, the Super Bowl halftime, right? Um, I think almost if as unless you're living under a rock, everybody now knows that the halftime in the Super Bowl this year was Bad Bunny. Now, I do not know Bad Bunny from a hole in the wall. I only start hearing about him when they were promoting the Super Bowl and they were saying, Bad Bunny, this person from Puerto Rico, he's going to be doing the whole halftime Super Bowl in Spanish. I didn't think anything of it because I don't think I've heard his music. But of course, I might be old, but I'm up and, I am up with current event, and I like Instagram, and all the people that I follow on Instagram, it seems like they follow him and they know who he is and all these things, right? So I'm bringing them up to say the last couple days I've been speaking on alignment and energy, and how you can become aware of your unconscious biasness or how you can bring your unconscious mind into your conscious mind, right? So a lot of the time, even watching the show and listening to some of the critics afterwards, listen, they are unconsciously stupid. All these terrible people that, that saying whatever it is they say, and I'm not even going to repeat it because I'm not wanting to do that. So I watched the halftime, and of course, it was all in Spanish. I couldn't understand many, how would you say it? I couldn't understand, not intellectually, like I would say, okay, intellectually, I couldn't understand because I don't speak Spanish. But let me tell you something, vibrationally, energetically, alignmentally, I heard every single word that man sing from the time he opened his mouth coming out of from that cane field. And today, every time I look at, because I must have looked at it now, I don't know, 100 times, this halftime of the Super Bowl. I even see the Grenadian flag, my flag from Grenada, this tiny little island. I see it flying in the Super Bowl. I have never seen that before. Never. But this man, this young man, come out singing from the cane field, and I can feel my own ancestors. I can feel all the people that came before me. I can feel and I can actually see, because he had a visual of it, of all the slave in the plantation cutting the cane, the sugar cane. And it brought memories up for me because when I was growing up on the island in Grenada, as a young girl, as I don't want to cry, and I feel like that's what is happening because, as I say, energetically, all day today, my soul was so grateful. Like it was so grateful that it was almost unbearable, the kind of joy and love I felt. And I'm thinking, if you don't feel this joy and love from just looking at Bad Bunny and all the people salsa and play their music. I don't know. I just don't know. I have to say, like, if you look at that and you found something wrong with it, there is something wrong with you. If you look at it and you saw and you felt nothing, I got to tell you, there is something wrong with you. And if you look at it and all you felt was hate, you are definitely not living in the dimension that I am living in. You are down in the gutter. I can tell you that now. Your vibration is so low that something like that doesn't touch you. You are not on, you're in a whole other dimension. You must be in the first dimension while the rest of us is up here in the third or the fourth dimension going on. So when I was a little girl growing up, and I wouldn't even say little. I mean, in my early teens, I was a bit of an adventurer. Hence, I'm living in Kenmore, Alberta, Canada, when everyone I know live in Toronto. Almost, my family live in Toronto. Well, my brother and his family and my mother used to live in Ontario. My friends live in Toronto. Almost all the Black people that I personally know from Grenada, they also live in Toronto. But when I was growing up, I was very, very adventurous. And I used to leave the house, my house in the morning time with sometimes I would pick up other stray people along the way, all the misfits, the young women and that didn't fit into the status quo of the Caribbean. We weren't all pregnant. It's, um, And we used to go up the hill because everybody in Grenada live on a hill. Like it's a very, the island is very mountainous. Nothing compared to the mountain I live in right now. But all of Grenada is mountainous. So almost everybody lives on a hill. And if you're not living on a hill, chances are you're living right down flat by the ocean. But most of us live on a hill. And so I live on the what we call the Gulf Coast Hill in Grenada, and Grand Anse. So I live very close to the airport, close to the beach, I live on the Gulf Coast. And when I say that I live on the Gulf Coast, the road that goes up to the Gulf House and the Gulf Coast itself, it's all called the Gulf Coast. So a lot of the time when I say, oh yeah, I live in Grenada, I live on the Gulf Coast, and people are like, you live on a Gulf Coast? Technically, yeah. I live on the road going to the Gulf pasture, which is, 5 minutes from where I live. So we would walk up to the Gulf pasture and walk down through the Gulf Coast itself and go get to the other side of the Gulf Coast. And all that area was plantation. All that area was cane. Like it was just cane field after cane field and garden. You would go there, you would take a walk, you would see the men, making their illegal rum because back then you could make illegal rum. We will go to the cane field and play and suck cane until the sugar in the cane would get us all drunk. you know. So watching the Bad Bunny show halftime at the Super Bowl, it really brought up these sweet memories of myself as a young woman living in the Caribbean. I mean, back then I didn't know anything about Canada or the Super Bowl or even America. I don't even think that I started to dream big dreams for myself as yet back then. And here I am today, cannot get over the immense joy and happiness that is inside of my heart to be in a world at this time, this present time, to witness something so beautiful, so sweet, and so full of love, even though everything else around is falling apart. Like we all know, and again I'm going to say that they say this, unless you're living under a rock, you know that the world is in breakdown. Like literally, we are in a breakdown. We are in a spiritual breakdown. We are in a political breakdown. We are in chaos. Um, Maybe not you personally, like not myself personally, but if we look, I'm in Canada and I'm looking to America, and somehow I am feeling such a kinship to the people over in America, whether you white or black. I'm feeling such a heartbreak, and I'm feeling the terror that is happening in Wisconsin. And is it Wisconsin? I think that's where it is, and all the places. I just cannot imagine being in my house or in my car and someone in a mass come with a gun to take me out. The thought of that, I mean, because I know that is what is going on now, I may not be as freaked out. I may just be downright pissed off, right? And throw a fit. But my point is, there is a lot of terror and a lot of things that is going on in the world that most of us cannot even comprehend. Our brains, like I know for sure, my brains do not want to comprehend that, but my heart knows. My heart is so open, so wide that um, it seems like this energy thing that is happening. It cannot although it's not happening right here in front of me, but energetically, I am inside of that spear, right? I am inside, we are all inside of that spear. And some of us is righteously angry and raging, and some of us is on the other side spewing hate, and some of us just don't know what to do with ourselves. But the message is so clear. Only love can really rise above all this hate that is going on in the world. And love being the highest, the highest in our vibration, that's what we have to reach for, you know. So when something happen that has so much joy and so much history and the culture and the beauty, and it is so, as a Black woman in this world, witnessing the true breakdown of humanity and seeing how transparent and how what is the word, fucked up, could I say that on here, on the on this, I don't know, the world is and has always been, but now it is actually transparent, we can see it. You know, the ones of us that can see the truth of it, we can see it. And the ones who say they don't see it, again, they are living in a different dimension. They're not living in the one we are living in, because there is a truth and then there is a lie. And I guess there is the in between. But if you are seeing the truth, it's something that you can feel right here, right? And if what you're feeling here is lie, then you're not in the same dimension as I am. Because this video is really and truly for the misfits, for the wizard, for the witches, for I don't know, you know, I just know myself to be a misfit, for the spiritual rebel, again, for you know, the spiritual junkie. I don't know, I what I do know is I am not seeking anything, to be honest with you. I just want to share um my life with you. I want to share all the things that I have learned in my life, because you know, I did make it to school. I did make it to school, and although my accent always allow other people to look down on me, because when you have an accent, especially, you know, thinking about the Spanish people, and when they have a heavy English accent, and people are always telling them to go back where they come from, and all these different things. I don't understand the world, to be honest. I mean, where do you want us to go to? Go back where we come from. Where is that? Like, we are all, this is all ours. We are all stewardess of these lands, you know, that, yeah, people stole. You know, we are all stewardess here. We are here to take care of this land for the next generation and the generation behind us, you know. You have to remember, no matter how you're feeling, we are actually living in a time, like, could you imagine, we are living in a time, I mean, I know for me, because I'm in my 60s already. So I, you know, well, totally big time grew up, you know, I was born in the 60s, in the 1960s, you know, yeah. And grew up in a time where, you know, peace and love, like, could you imagine, everybody was dancing and there was Woodstock, and you know, I mean, that's the picture that we have. And I don't know much about history, but I know when I was growing up, I mean, it was rock and roll and love and peace, and you know, there was war going on. I mean, it's similar to what's happening now, you know, totally, because there was war, and you know, all of that was happening back then. And there was the people that was doing the peace and love thing while there was the war, and we are seeing it right now. There's the people that is doing the peace and love thing. I mean, maybe we're not having the peace sign as we used to, but we are there doing it. Peace, man, peace. Is this how you do it? Peace, peace. Peace and what is the love sign? And anyways, so I'm saying all of that to say that we are living in a very intense time. We are living in a time where if we do not understand who we are as people, we would definitely be in the belly of what is going on. And that is why it is so important for you to really have a better understanding of who you are as a person in the world, because if you have trauma and drama and all these things in your life, what is going on is going to be affecting you tenfold. It's going to be affecting you so much more than the person that know who they are and who can ground themselves in this world. And believe it or not, the thing that can ground you within yourself is when you become aware of your unconsciousness, when you become aware of, cleaning up and releasing all that mucky, lower vibration energy. Because if you're in the lower vibration energy, then what is going on in the world, as I mentioned, is hitting you 10 times or 100 times more intense than it's hitting someone who know themselves and who know how to ground. This is a time in your life where going within and healing and finding your own spirituality, finding your own God, your own creator, your universe, your stone, whatever it is to find, this is the time for you to be doing it. Because yeah, we want to fight the big bad wolf. Maybe it's over there in America, or maybe it's right outside my door. We want to fight these people, but fighting them with anger and hate is not really going to get anger, hate, fear, all of that. Well, unless you're righteously angry. And yes, it's okay to not like your neighbor, but it doesn't mean that you want to blow them up. No, Um, so it's a hard one. It's a hard one. It's hard not to be angry. And it's hard not to start to really dislike some people heavily. It's hard not to want to say, you stay over there in your goddamn lane while I stay over here in my lane. But the truth is, this time that we're living in is a time when we need to connect to each other. It's a time when we need to build real community. So if you're out there and you're struggling and you're in the bottom of your vibration and you want to rise up from that, I guarantee you, find a community. Find people that you want to be like, or you want to learn from, or you want to grow with. Community and connection is where this is at. You clear your stuff, burn some sage. Yeah, burn some sage. But community and connection is what you need right now. And if it is, you want to be healthy and you want to heal and you want to get into alignment with your own life and you want to get to know who you are as a person, you definitely have to move into the connection with the people that you want to be, you want to have the connection with. So if you're like, oh, I really want to know who I am, then you go find people who already know who they are, you know. Oh, I really want to live in a community outside of a city, then you find a community. It's never easy. It's not a quick fix. Nothing is a quick fix. Look, we in breakdown in the world, and you see this breakdown that we are in the world, it's not getting better anytime soon. We are in a breakdown. When we were in the pandemic in 2020 and George Floyd and all these things, and we had a year of staying at home, look at the mess that happens among almost everybody. Nobody can almost handle it. But the one thing we learned from the pandemic is that people needed to come out in nature. People needed to be in nature. They needed to be outside. being inside with your door locked up for days and hours and all of that at a time, all of a sudden you miss the one thing that you never did before. Going for a walk in the bushes, by the river, sitting on a stone, grounding in nature, grounding in Mother Nature, in the earth. You miss that. And the pandemic was what? I mean, yeah, the heavy thing was for a year and a half. And then, the truth is, I feel like we're still in the pandemic. I think that was an experiment to see what happened if we all stayed at home. I didn't have the same experience as everyone because I live out in nature. I step out my door and I'm in nature. I mean, how fortunate is that for me as a person, right? Yeah. So, guys, anyways, I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to leave it right here. So, if you can feel gratitude that brings you to tears, that is what love is. When your joy and your happiness, when something like people in a whole other language can bring you to your knees with gratitude and joy and pure happiness, when they can do that, you know that you are in alignment with good things. You know that energetically, energy, the language is universal. It doesn't really matter what language you speak, it is all universal because it's how people make you feel. Maya Angelou, she always say, it's not what you do that people going to remember. It's not who you serve that people going to remember. People going to remember how you make them feel. And I guarantee you, I'm going to always, always remember how Bad Bunny made me feel. A young man from Puerto Rico who I've never listened to before. Um, I don't even know where he was and come out of the woodwork. And I don't know, like, what he did was so real and so raw and so simple that it's almost like, oh, I mean, it's not like he had a miracle, but it was so authentically deep that it is a miracle, that it is a wonder, you know, that it is a miracle and it is a wonder and it is a awe. Like he took us to a place of awe, you know. Yeah, he took us to awesome, like beyond awesome. And I hope you look at this video and even if it's a few days after and you understand how um, as I say, I spend the whole day so emotionally deeply raw and full and grateful in a way that I felt tears all day because I get to witness something beautiful in the world. And I hope you had that same opportunity. Anyways, don't forget to subscribe and like my channel and do less and be more. Be more of who you are and do less of the shit that doesn't serve you. I love you. And as I say every time I'm signing off, I am not yet editing my video. I don't think I'm going to ever edit my video. I'm going to do my own thing and see what happened because I am being myself. So have a good evening. I love you guys. Bye.